Welcome to the 111 Approach podcast, your go-to space for deep thoughts, real talk, and exploration of everything from spirituality to self-development and the mysteries of life with some light-hearted humour along the way. I'm your host, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer, and each episode will dive into different topics, sometimes personal, sometimes thought-provoking, but always authentic. So whether you're here for some new perspectives, inspiration, or just a fresh take on the world with a bit of randomness thrown into the mix, you're definitely in the right place. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 111 Approach podcast with me, Lakshmi, your 1 Minute Healer. And today I want to say to everyone, Happy New Year. Yes, you heard me. I'm saying Happy New Year, and I'm recording this at the end of March. So you might be thinking, what is she on? But yes, I'm recording this at the end of March, which is actually the real new year, because if you look at nature and how the earth starts to bloom and come into spring, it's actually the end of March, beginning of April, depending on where you live. So I wanted to do an episode on this because since I learned about this about 2 years ago, it has made so much more sense because, and yes, there is some conspiracy theories thrown in here, but if you go and do some research, and yes, your girl has done some research, there is so much information about how and why the modern calendar, the Gregorian calendar, actually doesn't make any sense. And when you start thinking like, why has this happened? And one of the conspiracy theories is that it was devised so that we as humans wouldn't be in sync with like the lunar cycle or the earth cycles, so that our pure energetic potency to manifest and be in true alignment with ourselves and Mother Earth would be disrupted. And now that I've learnt that, and I'm seeing so many things so much more clearly, and I'm like, what is going on? Because they are keeping us from tapping into our true power. But fear not, people like me are going to help you reconnect, realign into the true power and nature of what we are able to do as humans. And I have to also apologize because your girl's, as much as she loves the new year in March and springtime, she does suffer with hay fever. So if I sound a bit bunged up or if I'm sniffling a lot, please just excuse it. It is just the mucus that binds us. Shout out to Ace Ventura. Film that hasn't aged very well, but I still find it quite funny in parts. I have to just ignore the part where it's not very politically correct nowadays. But anyway, where were we? I'm sorry, I've made notes. I've made notes here because I want to make sure that I get the information correct for you. So get ready. I'm going to go on a bit of a history lesson with you. Don't worry, I won't make it as boring as I want in school, but I will give you a bit of information about how the Roman calendar came to be and why, actually, in a lot of cultures still around the world, especially in the eastern side, they still use a lunar or solar calendar, or like in the Chinese calendar, it's a lunar solar calendar because they actually get guidance from the sun and the moon, which is how we're supposed to be doing it, rather than some Roman saying, hey, I want a month named after me, so let's just stick it in there. Going with the natural rotations of the moon and the sun cycles makes a lot more sense to me. I don't know about you. So anyway, let's get into it. So initially, the Romans did actually, like a lot of the world, begin their new year in March, and it was named after the Roman god Mars, and traditionally it was a 10-month calendar. So the first 4 months were named for gods like Juno, which is the month June, and then the last 6 months were actually numbered in Latin. So that's why when you think about it, September, the 7th month, is named after the Latin word for 7, which is septem, and then October is oct, which is the Latin word for 8. November, novo, is 9, and December, dec, is 10. So it made sense, right? However, when Rome's second king came along, his name was Numa Pompilius. Oh my gosh, I hope I said that right. My Latin teacher would be very disappointed. Miss Smith, shout out to her. I wonder if she's still alive, actually. She was so odd. She had like a massive fetish for bearded men. She was very open about this and like crushing on any dads that came to parents' evening that had beards. And I remember in year 7, she had asked the question, whose dad has a beard? And obviously you'd put your hand up and you're like, yeah, my dad has a beard. And she was saying, make sure they come and see me at parents' evening. And she'd made these like weird, she was like very odd, honestly. And now when I think about it, I'm just like, that was a bit strange. Yeah, weird. Anyway, Numa Pompilius, oh gosh, I can't say it now. Numa Pompilius decided he was going to give a bit of a makeover to this calendar because he wanted to go towards a more lunar cycle. So adding 2 extra months, which was January, honouring the god Janus, which is the god for new beginnings, makes sense. February, honouring Februa, which is the Roman purification festival. However, comes Julius Caesar around 45 BC and demands that he actually wants to have a month named after him. Modest much? So anyway, he reformed the calendar, adding in July after his name. So they messed it around. Long story short, they were trying to get a 13-month calendar going on because in Roman times they believed that odd numbers were quite auspicious, but it just didn't work out and it didn't line up with what some of the mathematicians and astronomers were proposing. So they came to an agreement. It was going to be a 365 calendar with a leap year every 4 years, and it would be 12 months. And they were trying to sync it with the sun. And that's what they kind of stuck to now. But when you think about it, they should have stuck to a 13-month calendar because, and now get ready for some quick maths. Man's not hot style. We have 365 days in a year, right? Divide that by 13. That would mean each month would have approximately 28 days. And guess what takes about the same time to orbit the Earth? Yes, it's the moon. Hey, I'm the moon, for all you Mighty Boosh fans out there. So actually, that would mean every single month in a 13-month calendar would have the same number of days. No more counting on your knuckles or remembering 30 days have September, April, June, and November rhymes. And guess what? Each day, each month would start on a Monday, and the 28th of each month would end on a Sunday. Talk about perfectly aligned and ticking off my slightly OCD tendencies, right? I think we'd still need to account for an extra day because the maths is slightly over, but you know what? Just carry the one and we'll be fine. We would be more in alignment with natural cycles of the moon and earth, and I can almost guarantee that as a human race, we would be more in tune and in sync with our powers of creation and energies. But these people in powers that want to keep us so small and controlled don't want that to happen. Watch how I get cancelled and banned now. And disclaimer, if I go missing unexpectedly after this episode, it's definitely the Illuminati or some higher powers or something very sinister. So people rise up, please. But Gunga, remember our deal at the funeral, okay? Anyway, back to my man, Julius Caesar, who decides to make another massive innovation to the calendar. And instead of having the new year start when it's always started for the beginning of time, and when it makes sense to start in March, he decided that actually the new year is going to start on the first day of January, which is the day when high-ranking Roman officials returned to work, to office. So actually it was more of a bureaucratic decision and not a natural one. So there you go. Now you tell me whether or not that the March New Year makes more sense, or whether a bunch of Roman officials saying that, hey, we're going back to work on January the 1st. That's our new year now for the whole world. So there's a little bit of history for you. However, most cultures around the world still either use a solar or lunar calendar or a mix of both. So like I mentioned, the Chinese New Year is a lunar solar calendar, and so they celebrate around February times. A Tibetan New Year falls between January and March. The Taiwanese New Year falls between January and March as well. Just full disclaimer, I'm reading off a Wikipedia list, by the way, so just having a quick look. Yeah, so majority of the world's cultures do celebrate in March. Babylonian New Year, it begins with a new moon. Iranian New Year is around mid-March. Balinese New Year, also around March. Right, some of these words I can't pronounce properly, I don't think, so forgive me, I'm not meaning to offend anyone. But Ugadi, Telugu, and Kannada New Year falls around March, April. Kashmiri calendar, the New Year, Gudi Padwa and Goa celebrated in March. April is a Sikh New Year. The Vaisakhi, the Sindhi calendar festival is around the same time as well. Not just loads, there's absolutely loads. Like, go and have a look at it. I'm not going to sit here and list it all out. We'll be here forever. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, like the Punjabi New Year, Nepal, Bengali New Year, most of the cultures around the world celebrate around this time, mid to end March or April. So there is a running theme here, people. Most communities and cultures go in line where Mother Earth is blossoming, and that's around about now. And that's where I choose to go. So, I'm not here telling you what to believe. I respect everyone's beliefs, but really, no one knows the truth. That's why I always say you've got to just go with what feels right for you. But what feels right for me, now having learnt a little bit more about this over the last 2 years, January just doesn't sit right with me at all. So yeah, not for me, thanks. And nowhere in the ancient world do we find a nature-driven tradition that declares January 1st as the time of renewal. So it was only Julius Caesar who decided that. So we just took that as gospel and just, used it for most of the world. So it makes no sense. Anyway, going back to going in line with cycles and a more natural way of being. Even in astrology, the new year starts with Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. And again, that's in late March. Aries is all about fresh starts, and it really kind of aligns in with what springtime is all about. Everything comes to life, new buds are opening, leaves and plants are blossoming everywhere. It's alive, it's growing, it's waking up. So it just kind of makes sense that that would be more in line with how many animals that go into hibernation during winter months, and now they start coming out of hibernation. And it's, at the end of the day, we are just animals. So I don't really get why we as a race have decided to go against what is actually quite natural to us. And it's again going into that idea of even like Western medicine putting a lot of chemicals in our bodies, whereas there are so many holistic ways of healing and using nature as a healing machine, like plant medicines, essential oils, good quality food and water is healing in itself. And I think a lot of people now are becoming more accustomed to trying to come back to a more natural, holistic way of living. Now, I'm not knocking Western medicine. I did used to work in the medical field, not in pharmaceuticals, but in medical devices. But, it has to work hand in hand. I do know a lot of people who are just so quick to reach for paracetamol or an ibuprofen, when actually you can use more holistic ways of helping your body to heal. And I think also the way life is going in terms of these screens and all these artificial lights that we now have in our home as well is messing with our electromagnetic field. We are not designed to operate in such a rigid environment that's go, go, go all the time. We're supposed to be at one with our natural surroundings, but now our natural surroundings are being dictated by artificial light and artificial screens. And that's why they say try not to be on screens for about an hour or two before you go to sleep, because it's just stimulating parts of your brain that actually need to start slowing down for your body to rest properly. The reason we're not getting sufficient good quality rest then attributes to all the factors of increased stress and more illness, and these things will just add up. And then we're like, oh, why do I feel so crap all the time? Well, it's because we have been purposely, some people would say, designed to be living out of sync with how we're supposed to naturally be. Now, once you start understanding this and taking steps to start reconnecting with yourself and not letting yourself be dictated by things that just don't make sense, not letting your phone control you. Like, I've switched off all my notifications so I don't get Instagram notifications, I don't get WhatsApp notifications. I've made a conscious effort for the last 2 years not to let my phone be my master. I watched that documentary on Netflix, Social Dilemma, and honestly, it shook me to the core that we are so reliant on these phones. And that's one of the reasons that I am sticking to my guns about not recording myself on video when I'm recording these podcasts. So many people have said to me, and some of the guests that I've recorded with, that I will be releasing the episodes in due time, don't worry. They are like, are we going to record this? Are we going to use this as content? And I'm like, no, sorry, not doing that, because my whole purpose for launching this podcast, if you do listen to my earlier episodes, is because A, I wanted to have something where I don't have to be on screen and I don't have to worry about what I look like. And B, every single person says, limit your screen time. Even the people who made the screens themselves are like, limit your screen time. So then why would I want to record myself for someone to be sitting and then watching and listening to this on a screen? Podcasts and radio were meant to just be for audio consumption only. We listen to them in the car while we're driving or cooking or cleaning. You don't have to look at anything. You can still absorb and listen to this content. And that's why I'm really passionate about keeping it that way, at least for now. And guess what? As I just said that, the screens off my laptop and just timed out. I went blank. So there you go. And my guidance spirit team are telling me, yep, get the people off the screens as much as possible. And with that in mind, I'm going to start wrapping up. So fun fact, we do actually have 3 New Years. So we have the fake New Year, which is January 1st. And then we have the real New Year, which is around about now, spring equinox, when Mother Earth is renewing and going into her New Year. And then you have your personal New Year, which is your birthday. So essentially, you have 3 chances to start over, so to speak. But then, as I say that, I always say to people, it doesn't matter. Each day that you wake up is a new day. It's a new start. It's fresh. Don't let some arbitrary timelines and dates tell you, oh, now you should be doing a resolution or starting to do something around about this time. No, time doesn't even exist anyway in the way that we think. So you make your own goddamn timeline. You decide that, yeah, actually, right here, right now, it's my new start. At the end of this episode, you could be just like, right, this is my new start. This is my new year. This is my new renewal. And so tap into that kind of energy and have a look at how you can possibly start making some more aligned, conscious decisions with how nature intended us to be. And now, if anyone wants some more information, I'll leave some links in the show notes below, but I do encourage you to go and do a bit of research if you're interested in this kind of thing. Because honestly, once you start working with nature's energies and the cycles of the moon, especially if you're a woman, but even as a man as well, you will start noticing how your energy, your hormones, your moods flow, and you become so much more powerful and in control because you are now in sync with how Mother Nature intended you to be. It's crazy how my menstrual cycles are now in line with the new moon. I bleed when, hang on, let me just check my Stardust app. Yeah, my cycle type, I'm a white witch because it says your period is synced with the new moon. Your body mirrors nature. You bleed when the sky is at its darkest and ovulate with the full moon when the earth itself is also the most fertile. Talk about extreme cosmic alignment. White moon witches are traditionally linked to positions of creativity, collaboration, and nurturing. Your domain is that of growth and enchantment. Woo, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I use this app called Stardust to track my menstrual cycle, but also like my moods as well. It's really cool. It's a free app, and I will leave a link on that below. You can also add me as a friend, so you can add your friends and you can see how you're all in sync and line up and stuff. And if you're with someone, you can add a partner. So they download the app and they have partner view. So they can understand you a little bit better as you move through the cycles and your periods. Maybe we'll do an episode on this actually, because this is quite interesting. Because you always get a lot of, oh, she's on her period, she's so moody, get out of her way, stay away. But actually this app has helped me get a deeper understanding of how we can move through all this kind of hormonal changes. And also, like I said, if you've got a partner, it helps them understand it as well. So I did allude to this in my previous episode about how things have been set up that we as women are just so out of sync with everything. So it's quite interesting stuff. I could sit and talk about it for hours and hours, but this is a short and sweet episode, just like me, although I'm not that short. I'm actually quite tall. So anyway, as always, we're going to end on some gratitude and do a 1-minute meditation. So I just want to say thank you very much for being here. Thank you for all your comments as well. I'm getting so many people reaching out and telling me how much they love the podcast. And it does honestly mean the world to me. You might not think it doesn't, but I do read every single comment. And for a small business owner and a content creator, every comment, every engagement on my socials, every bit of feedback, it honestly, like, I get a bit emotional because it does mean so much to me, and it doesn't cost a thing, right? This is what I try to tell people. These little things mean the world. So like sharing it on your socials, tagging me, reviewing and rating, and then sharing it with people who you might feel it benefits. It's just priceless, honestly. I can't stop smiling when I think of some of the comments that I've received. So thank you, everyone. Gratitude is overflowing at the moment. So let's do the 1-minute meditation to bring in some beautiful energy for this new year. So if it's safe to do so, please do close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth. Now I want you to breathe in again, and this time breathing in the fresh energy of this new year. The spring equinox, the energy of renewal, growth, and possibility. And as you now exhale, just breathe out anything that feels heavy, that you want to leave in the past, that no longer serves you. Breathe it all out of your system. Now, I want you to visualize yourself standing in a beautiful garden. Do not worry if you can't see anything. Just put the intention that I'm outside in a gorgeous garden. You're holding a small seed in your hand. The seed represents your intention for the new year. Now, plant that seed in the soil, in the ground beneath you, and just cover it. And imagine now that roots are growing, reaching the deep into the core of the earth. And as you look at this, you see a sprout emerging into the sunlight. And with each breath that you take now, this sprout is growing and growing, and the possibilities are endless. As it grows and as you look up, as it grows into the sun, into the sky, putting a smile on your face as you watch almost like a beanstalk going higher and higher into the clouds. Take one more deep breath in, feeling grounded and inspired. And as you exhale, open your eyes and affirm to yourself, I am ready to grow, thrive, and embrace new beginnings. This is my time. This is me. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed recording it. And as I said, please do like, rate, review, share it. It does mean the world. And I will see you on the next episode. Sending you love, light, and blessings.